Hey there, Misfits. Welcome to another Snapshot, and today we're going to talk about a game that I first ran across at Gen Con, and it's from AEG. It's a game called Into the Machine, and it's a cute game about robots and racing each other, and I'll tell you all about it, but it's coming to Kickstarter soon, and AEG's big Kickstarter that's coming out soon, so I'll have all the details down below and a link and all that stuff. But let me tell you a little bit about this cute robot game called Into the Machine. Basically, you have a crew of robots, and you have different kinds of robots. You have little circle robots, you have little triangle robots, you have little square robots, and you also have these little racing hexes. Now, the whole point of this game is for you to manipulate with your pit crew robots the bots up here on the top. And this is right here is the racetrack. Basically, it's a conveyor belt. It's, you know, like an assembly line, and you've got the whole point of this is to get your little circle bots all the way down to the end. Then they turn into a hex bot, and then those hex bots go this way all the way down until they end up in the winner circle. And that may seem pretty simple to grasp, but it's a lot more complicated than that, because the way you make these things move is by putting your pit crew bots down here on the bottom. And the different actions on these different cards, they're put out here randomly each game. And what you have to do is you put one of your guys on whatever action you'd like to do. And there's various actions. Some of them are just moving bots up and down the row. Some of them are, you know, putting new bots out on the racetrack. And some of them are, you know, other ways to manipulate where they are on the track and things like that. So that's basically, in basic, broadest strokes, how you do it. But the deal is that you only have a certain amount of these guys in your supply. So you have to strategically pick which actions you're going to do. And the actions get more complicated and more powerful the farther down you go. So on the top row here, you can use your little circle bots to do everything. And the next one is the triangle bots, and the bottom row is the square bots. And then, you know, a triangle can do actions up here, and a square can do actions anywhere. But most of all, you're looking to activate the stuff that's associated with them. Now, when somebody puts their little robot out here, you place it, and if you're the only one to put something on it at first, you can only use one, or you only need to use one. But if you want to do that action and somebody else has snaked that one, you have to put two bots on it. You get to use more bots for a particular action. That way, somebody doesn't quite block you out, but if they get there first, they don't spend as many resources or bots as you have. So that's basically how broad strokes is played. There's so much strategy in this game, because not only do you have a limited supply of these little guys, but when you're up on the racetrack and you get them up on the racetrack, you can take what's called upgrade actions, where it'll slide one of your little guys from the track up here into the top of the track. And depending on where it goes out is what kind of robot replaces it. So you can turn one of your little circle guys into a more powerful square if you upgrade them farther down the track. And the downside of that is that you've got one little less guy running up the racetrack to turn into a hex to get back. Because the first person to get 3 in there wins, unless you're the first person. If you get 2 in before anybody else, you win. So that's where the craziness can ensue, because first game we played this, I thought I had a guy in there, and then Misfit Chaos came in and plunked a card down and totally took the win from right in front of me. So it's so strategic, because you're trying to use your limited amount of resources, the bots, to do the right actions to move your racers up on the racetrack row. Now, another thing that kind of throws a monkey wrench into all this is you get these power cards. And these power cards you get by upgrading your bots at a certain level, or you can draw power cards or, a couple other places in there. Now, the power cards have actions on them, and there's even a couple of actions on power cards that you can't even do on the board. So every turn, you basically can decide to put a bot down and use a card. That can really swing a turn. So you're able to do a certain amount of combos and things like that. These power cards are really powerful. And then there's even some of these, like this one in particular, which I just happened to pick up. It lets you put a bot down without having to stack anything higher. So that way you can use one of your resources where somebody else has already blocked off a space. And there's even a better thing you can do when you are putting your bots out. For example, here on the board, I have 2 bots on these 2, but I put in the middle, you have junctions. And if you control a guy on each card, you can take an action and put that bot down in between them, and you get to do both actions. And one caveat about this is whenever you go to do an action, you have to be able to do that action. So some of these, for example, a card that lets you move a hex bot this way, if you don't have a hex bot on the track, you can't take that action. So that's a lot of strategic things that when you go to choose stuff, you're like, but I can't do the other thing. So I'm, without supply, I can't put anything else on the board. So I'm just going to have to do the final action that you have an option for, which is to scoop up your bots. And then when you scoop up your bots, you get one more of the circle bots. So that'll help you out the next turn. So if you can't do anything, you have to scoop all your guys up. And that will change the kind of control aspect that you have down on the bottom. Like, there's been many times when somebody scooped up and I'd be like, oh, I get to put one guy down and do that action. Instead, I was going to have to spend 2 or 3. So it's almost like a resource management side of this game. So it's really, really, it's a simple game for you to learn. The mechanics of the game are very easy. It's very, very icon driven. So, I mean, there's no need for even, an international edition for this because it's all symbolism. You just need different, explanations of the rules in a language that you can speak, and you can play this game with anybody. So that's an added bonus, and the iconography is actually very, very clear on this. So you really don't guess so much, especially once you've learned what all the little symbols mean. It's very easy to follow. It's very easy to figure out. The hard part is the strategy, and you don't expect that from such a cute game. It's, cute little robots running around, but there were times when we were playing this, and you could see in our playthrough video that I'll put a little linky up here, but there's times when we're just sitting there going, oh my goodness gracious, what am I going to, because you come up to your turn and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then the person before you goes plunk, sucker, you're out. And you're like, oh no, what am I going to, you got to come up with plans within plans within plans. And, you still can be foiled by one person putting the wrong, bot there to where, oh, now I need 2 of these. I don't have 2 of these. I'm going to have to scoop. And it just adds a complexity, but it's not a random factor, but you have to react to other people's, choices that your best laid plans go out the window. So that's so much fun. I can't even tell you how much fun we've had playing this game over the last few days. We've played at least 3 or 4 times, and every game is different. Every game, especially because of the randomization, we had one game where we had just a couple of cards that were right next to each other on an easy junction that we were just slamming. And, the next game, that one was here and this one was here, and we didn't have the synergies. So every game is unique, every turn is unique, and sometimes your planning works, and sometimes your planning is out the window. And that just makes a fun game to me, definitely. I really enjoy this game. I think every Misfit who played it enjoyed this game a lot. And we can't wait to be able to pick it up from AEG right here on the Kickstarter that's coming up. It's at the end of August, but, I'm going to have the thingies down here so you can go check it out. They're going to have a Kickstarter with this in it and a few other expansions and a whole bunch of other stuff. Kind of AEG never disappoints on their Kickstarters. So you got to go check it out, and you got to check out Into Machine. And if you can't get it on a Kickstarter and you're watching this much further down the road, play it, buy it, get it. It's a fun game, and it's adorable, and it's easy to learn, but it's really, really hard to win if you got some really savvy players at the table, which we did. I thought I was going to win every game I played. I did not. So I have that going for me. So thanks for joining us for a snapshot of Into the Machine, the adorable robot game from AEG that you should go kickstart now, if you can. If not, go get it. It's great. So obviously, I can't wait to play this again, and we're going to keep it set up right here so we can play a game right after we're done with this. So until next time, Misfits, game on.